Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, and welcome back to NFL Predictions. In today's third video of the day, we of course are going to be predicting the NFL Week number 8 games here on the channel. We're going to talk every single game this week, probably give some thoughts and give our predictions, of course. So, with that being said, you already know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. With that being said, last video of the day will come up today. It will be the World Series preview. We'll talk all what you need to know about everything World Series related. Give our predictions for every single game. And, talk about the World Series. However, with that said, we got to predict these NFL games. So let's go ahead and hop into them right now here on the channel. Alright, so kicking us off on Thursday Night Football, we have the Minnesota Vikings going into the Los Angeles Rams. I got the Vikings straight up in this one. I really do. I think, obviously, the Vikings are coming off a loss, a very close loss to the Detroit Lions. However, with that said, Sam Darnold's going to get the ball to his playmakers like Justin Jefferson, like Addison, all of those guys there on the Minnesota Vikings side of the ball. They're 5-1. They're 5-2 now. 5-1, rolling here these last couple of weeks. Obviously, the loss to Detroit doesn't help them, but they are playing up against a pretty banged up Bengals team, or a pretty banged up Rams team, if you're asking me. Excuse me there for a second. Had a little stuttering. They're without Cooper Kupp. Obviously, no more Aaron Donald. The defense is a little hurt as well for the Los Angeles Rams. I've got the Vikings in this one, kicking us off on Thursday night with the W for the Vikings. Alright, kicking us off on Sunday, of course, the 12 o'clock game. No London game this week, thank God. We got the Philadelphia Eagles going into the Cincinnati Bengals. Eagles coming off a win, Bengals coming off of a loss. This is going to be a fun one if you're asking me. I got the Bengals here. I really do. I think that they're going to be able to keep up with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that the Cincinnati Bengals offense is a lot better than the Philadelphia Eagles offense, and I think that's where they're going to thrive. Obviously, the Eagles, I think they're coming off a bye, if I'm not mistaken. However, they did lose, or almost lose, to the Cleveland Browns as well. However, they're rolling right now. They're coming off a win against New York right now. I'm expecting that offense to continue into the game. I just think the Bengals defense is a little bit better. Plus, it's at home for Cincinnati. So, I've got to go with the Cincinnati Bengals here in this matchup at home against the Philadelphia Eagles in week number 8. Next game up, you got the Baltimore Ravens going into Detroit. This is going to be a fun the Baltimore Ravens going into Cleveland, rather. Still looking at the bottom of the screen for whatever reason. However, when it comes down to it, Baltimore's just a better team, man. Deshaun obviously out for the year. You traded away Amari Cooper. You don't have any good players on that team other than Nick Chubb, who you'll probably trade away as well. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, enough said. Give me the Ravens on the road in Cleveland in this matchup. Next, you got Tennessee going into Detroit. Got to go with Detroit here. Tennessee just traded away D-Hop, to the Chiefs. If you guys are keeping up with the breaking news around the league, that has finalized that deal. They are receiving a third-round pick in exchange for D-Hop to the Chiefs. And they don't have any more playmakers, if you're asking me, other than Calvin Ridley. So with that said, Detroit's coming off a great win, an emotional win over, of course, the Minnesota Vikings in what was a very close game. I'm expecting that trade to keep rolling. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to handle that kind of emotion going into this game. And I got to go with Detroit here at home against Tennessee in this matchup. Next, you got Arizona going into Miami. This one's going to be a very interesting matchup. On one hand, you got Tua, who may be back from injury, obviously, with this concussion injury in week 2. On the other hand, you got Arizona and the Cardinals being hot right now. So I don't know who to pick in this one. I think I'm going to go with the Cardinals here. If Tua's not playing in this game, then it's definitely going to be a Cardinals. But with Tua playing in this game, I think it's going to be a much closer game than what a lot of people think. However, when it comes down to it, Arizona's riding hot right now. Miami's a little bit on the struggle bus, especially defensively. I think if Kyler and the Cardinals want to win this game, they got to get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. They got to get the ball to Dorkich. They got to let James Conner cook. I think they do, and I think Arizona moves on and wins this week number 8 matchup in Miami. Up next, you got the shit show game of the week. The New York Jets going into the New England Patriots. Got to go with the Jets here. I think the Jets are going to bounce back. Obviously, it's going to take them a week or two with Devontae Adams to kind of get in the new routine I think this week helps that a little bit. I think he finds momentum, and I think that the New York Jets go on the road and beat a struggling New England Patriots team right now. The defense for New England has not been that great these last couple of weeks. Stevenson has not been on it at all either. Their one bright spot really has been Drake May. So I think the Jets, if they can continue to contain Drake May, not let up a lot of deep balls, I think that the Jets are going to be just fine and that they should get the win on the road in Foxborough in New England. Next, you got a huge NFC South battle. I believe this is the second game of the series when they played on Thursday Night Football a couple of weeks ago. The Atlanta Falcons going into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Bucs are, of course, without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, I believe, for this week. So that gives me no other reason than to pick the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to bounce back, win this game, just because the Tampa Bay offense has been struggling recently, obviously, in the Ravens. I think that if they play a little bit of defense on these young wide receivers, other than Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, of course, who are hurt right now, then I think they're going to be just okay. I think Kirk Cousins is going to get the ball to, of course, Kyle Pitts. I think that he's going to be able to get the ball to Bijan Robinson. I think they're going to run all over this Tampa Bay defense, and I think the Falcons are going to win this one on the road in the upset of the week. Up next, you got Green Bay going into Jacksonville. Got to go with Green Bay here. They're coming off a great win, of course, over the Houston Texans. It was a very close matchup. Jordan Love is playing really hot right now. I expect that trade to keep rolling. I expect Jacksonville, on the other hand, to feed the ball to Tank Bigsby. You got to give it to what's working, of course. You got to give the ball to Tank Bigsby, of course. You got to give the ball to your playmakers like Brian Thomas Jr. if you want a chance to win this game against a really good Packers defense, if you're asking me. I don't think they do. I think Jordan Love gets the ball to Jordan Reed a lot. I think he can get the ball to, of course, Dotson as well. I think the Packers go on the road in Jacksonville and win this game as Jacksonville is finally back in the United States. Next up, you got New Orleans going into the Chargers. Chargers coming off of a heartbreaking loss on Monday Night Football, of course, to the Arizona Cardinals. Saints are coming off of a absolute obliterating loss to the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football, but they've had a week to rest up. They've obviously got some things up their sleeve. I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to contain the Saints' offense this week. I really don't. However, I'm going to pick the Chargers to beat the Saints in a shootout. I think this game is going to be an all-offensive game. I think Justin Herbert's going to feed Ryan McConkey a lot. I like the Chargers here in this matchup in a very close shootout game against the New Orleans Saints. Next, you got a very good matchup, if you're asking me. The Buffalo Bills going into the Seattle Seahawks. This is going to be a fun one. Battle up two really solid teams, if you're asking me. I don't know who to pick this week. This is going to be a toss-up. I may have my friend pick this who doesn't know much about football in my Pick'em League. However, when it comes down to it, Buffalo. When you look at Buffalo, their offense has been cooking right now. With the addition of Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman's been really good. James Cook, they're going to have to utilize him a lot in this game, especially against that 49ers defense, who definitely can make some plays, that is for sure. On the defensive side, or on the offensive side of the ball for Seattle, you got to get your playmakers, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, obviously JSN as well. Kenneth Walker's got to be utilized as well. I think the Seattle Seahawks win this game, A1, because it's at home, but B2, they got the better playmakers in this one. I think that it's going to be a close game. However, Seattle's going to win this one. It's going to be weird. It's going to be like 24-21, and the Seahawks will get the job done at home against the Bills. Up next, you got Carolina going into Denver. I just got to go with Denver here. I have no hope for this Carolina Panthers team. I really don't. Obviously, you put Bryce Young in the week last week and the blowout loss. There's just nothing that's happening right now for the Carolina Panthers. Got to go with the Broncos. They outplayed New Orleans by a mile this past weekend, or on Thursday Night Football. I expect that trade to continue, and they should blow out Carolina as well. Up next, you got the Chiefs going into the Raiders. I got to give this one to the Chiefs, man. As much as I hate to say it, they're 7-0 right now, or going to be 7-0 by the time that this weekend runs around. I just hate picking the Chiefs right now at this point in time. They're playing against a really bad Raiders team right now, though. However, with that said, got to go with the Chiefs as they will get the win on the road in Las Vegas. Up next, you got the last 325 game of the weekend. The Chicago Bears going into the Washington Commanders. Number 1 versus number 2 pick in the draft. If Jaden Daniels is, of course, healthy. However, if he's not healthy, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. Obviously, Caleb Williams has been playing lights out right now. The offense for Chicago is cooking, but it specifically is going to be about the Chicago Bears defense and to see how they can lock down their weapons like Terry McLaurin, obviously, for the Washington Commanders, Brian Robinson Jr. as well. How are they going to handle the receiving core and the running backs that the Washington Commanders have that Jaden Daniels makes them look so good? I think that Caleb Williams wins this game. I don't think Jaden Daniels plays this weekend, and the Bears should get the job done on the road in Washington. Of course, to close us all out on Sunday Night Football, we have the Dallas Cowboys going into the San Francisco 49ers. This one's always been a big rivalry matchup. I expect CD and the boys to get hyped for this one. I really do. However, with that said, Micah Parsons, Dexter Lawrence being hurt obviously doesn't help us. But when you look at the 49ers side of things, Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk are both out for the year for the most part as well. Brock Purdy has been struggling a little bit, so this game really is going to be a toss-up for me. I'm going to pick my favorite team in the league right now in the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go with my boys here to ride this one out, get the win. They're coming off of a bye week. Brock Purdy struggled last week. I expect them to contain him, expect them to focus on Deebo Samuel a lot this week and practice and, of course, when watching film. I'm expecting the Dallas Cowboys to go on the road and beat San Francisco in a very rare case in this one. Us off on Monday Night Football. Thank God there's only one game this week. However, it's a snooze fest. It's the New York Giants against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Got to go with the Steelers here. They won last week on Sunday Night Football. Russell Wilson looked really good. I expect that to continue. I expect Russell Wilson to keep getting the ball to his playmakers like Najee Harris, obviously, and that train to keep rolling as the Pittsburgh Steelers will get the job done at home against a struggling New York Giants team to close out the week. Of course, that is where I'm going to do it for this third video of the day. If you have not already, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn that bell on. We do our best to post on this channel every single day. With that said, I'm going to hop off, get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. If I don't see you in my World Series game-by-game breakdown, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy some NBA action tonight as well. Pels are back in action, baby. We may take over the West this year. You never know. It's a possibility. However, that is where I'm going to leave it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.